Welcome back to Cody's Crafting Corner. Behind me I have a larger piece that I work on slowly whenever I have some stolen moments. And it helped me come up with our craft for today. We're gonna do some black and white landscapes. I realized I haven't really shared anything in a black and white palette with you guys yet, so I thought, why not now? Okay, so in front of me I have my canvas, and I just put on some globs, that's the technical term, glob, of paints, white on top, black on the bottom, and then we're gonna take one of our do-it-yourself painter's knives, and anyone who wasn't with us when we talked about how to make these last, you just get a credit card and then put some like diagonal cuts through it. It could also be an old like room key, I won't tell the hotel that you stole that, or like, I don't know, up to you. Whatever you feel like dismantling and destroying for your painter's knife is entirely your choice. You know, nothing says, that's fine, like a room temperature cider. Okay. So, take your painter's knife and just go straight across the middle, getting both that white and the black. We want to try to do as many long strokes as we can to help create this like lateral landscape feel. Does anyone else remember in like elementary school where they taught you to know the difference between longitude and latitude? Because like lat is like fat ways and long is longitude ways. I don't know why I remember these things. For something like this, don't worry about painting around the edges right now. Well, I'm just going to paint a black frame around it. You're welcome to do the same. If not, make sure you put a nice gallery wrap on it. Okay, when you're done, it should look something like this. A nice textured white section, a textured black section. I'm obnoxious, and so I also like my black to get just a little bit lighter towards the bottom. You don't have to do that. Do whatever makes you happy. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone. Okay, then we're going to glob some paint onto our palette and stick our painter's knife in it, and we're gonna make little vertical lines from the ground, and they'll be our tree trunks. The like median of them should be taller and taller to like shorter, and then we can, of stalks, and then we can sort of create a sense of like perspective, like looking down a alley of trees. But don't make them like raising the bar, like going up. Like they can, the one to the left could be slightly taller than one to the right, but like for the general rule, like your tallest ones towards the outside, and then your furthest ones back there in the center would be your shortest ones. Okay, now we're gonna need a brush that is fairly flat, and you're gonna load it up with just a little bit of gray. So like something along the lines of like a lighter color of something that's in the mix of your black and white already on the canvas. Idyllically, like, see how you have this like darker black? Try to match something that's like this lighter black here, or any like lighter black that's in the picture, just something that's in that same like sort of scope or family. You don't need to create a whole new shade or anything. Okay, so take that brush after you loaded some of that like dark gray on it, and give it a little bit of dab, dab, dab. And then we're gonna apply it to the painting. So some of these are gonna be background trees. So we won't see a lot of them once we do our foreground trees, but we just want to make a nice cohesive and like well-made view, a little vista. Okay. Once you've done a couple of those, you can just load actual black on your brush and do the same. A technique I like to use is I start off vertical, and then as I come down the tree, I just turn my brush so the width of the tree does the thing that it does. So I grew up in Florida, and pine trees don't grow like this in Florida. They're like super tall, and they like have weird branches that stick out. I legitimately had no idea that Christmas trees were pine trees for a large portion of my childhood. Oh, also, if I were you, I would just pick one side to do first on the trees, splitting center, so that when you're going down, it's gonna get slightly lighter. So do the shadowed side on the outside, and then do that, the inside side. So like outside, inside, like when you're in show choir and you're like, you know what I mean. Okay, so we're gonna put a nice little like moon in the center, and so that little bit of glow is gonna read a lot when like all the sides of our trees are just slightly congruent with the light source. Does that make sense? Was that a good enough reason to use the word congruent? I don't even think it's the right word right now. Okay, next you're gonna load that same painter's brush with a little bit of white. Dab off just if there's a little bit too much on that. And then we're gonna do horizontal latitudinal. Good news, I looked up congruent and I did use it properly. I just didn't use it what we are used to using it in like terms of geometry. So, bless you. That was my roommate's cat. So we're gonna do horizontal lines to start creating an illusion of some water. Now, the trees don't grow in water. Our idea is that it's just so dark that you wouldn't see where the water ends and the land begins. So when you do these horizontal lines, make sure you're staying within the trees, right? So don't like start doing lines through the trunks. I mean, you can. You're welcome to do that. Do your own thing, whatever makes you happy. I advise against it. Okay, so. So think of your lines as getting smaller to bigger, like smaller and more centered, and then bigger as they go up. Okay, next, take like a tiny piece, like the other end of your painter's knife, and load that with some white. And we're gonna put just the tiniest little moon circle right here. So there's two ways to go about painting a moon. You can either paint it, what has happened, the cat is going crazy. You can either paint it like in relation to what it really looks like in the sky, which is actually pretty small. Or you can paint it in like a magical, the moon looks so big kind of thing. I usually tend to go for the latter, but for today, let's do a realistic moon. So it only is gonna be about this big. And just... Try to keep it as cleanly white as possible. We have all this like textured white, and what's really gonna set apart is just being just slightly pure white against this background. So we have our little moon up there, and then directly under the moon, we're just gonna do some more horizontal lines of the moon sort of reflecting in the ripples of the water. So how you do that, you just load a little bit of white on that small side again, roughly the size of the moon, and then just do, I don't want to get paint on my shirt. And there we have it. We have our little moon, its little reflective things, a nice black and white landscape, and you did it all with some paint and a broken up credit card and a flat brush. Textured pieces like this will take a while to dry because you have some thickness on there. So make sure you set it aside where, like, I don't know, the cats aren't gonna step in it. And then once it's completely dry, I'm gonna paint a black border on the edges of mine, but you don't have to do that. You can do anything you want as long as it makes you happy and it doesn't hurt anyone. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and paint my border on the side black. So I went to like a restaurant for the first time since everything. I mean, I ate outside, but still I was like at a restaurant, and it was like kind of terrifying. And so I went and got a like free COVID test. It's like right by my apartment. I just had to like sign up for an appointment time, and it was like in and out. It was not the most wonderful feeling or sensation up my nose, but ultimately it really wasn't that bad. And like for all the like weird feelings I had of being like, I am surrounded by human beings for the first time in forever, it was a very nice peace of mind to go in and for them to just say, all clear. As things start opening up and we start like doing more things and going out in more public areas, I think I might start doing it every week if I have time, just because why not? I hope you guys have a really great week this week. Set some kind of goal for yourself. My goal is to set aside a little bit of time to work on my self-portrait that I usually just end up never getting around to working on. Bye!